WCNC Weather Impact, your trusted source for winter weather and beyond. From frost and freezes to snow, get the up-to-date forecast on your schedule.
Your Weather Impact team only on WCNC Charlotte.
Stream now on WCNC Plus.
A local nonprofit is making a big push to get mammograms to more women in underserved communities.
Yes, very important. There's a backlog revealing that hundreds of women are in need of these screenings. WCNC Charlotte's Siobhan Riley explains why a local woman is making it her mission to save lives.
The founder of Elizabeth House says she started the nonprofit after the death of her mother, who died from breast cancer back in 2008. The organization provides life-saving breast health screenings to underserved women in Charlotte. As Brandy Sims flips through the pages of this photo album, it's a reminder of the promise she made to her mother, Ruth Elizabeth, who was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer at 48 years old.
Her obituary in the newspaper.
She died 6 years later.
I promised I was going to take care of my daughter, Diamond. I was going to try to be the best mom I could be.
Sims is turning her pain into purpose by keeping her mother's memory alive through her organization, Elizabeth House. It's named after her mother.
What do you think your mother would say about the work you're doing?
She'd say, "Girl, you shocking the world."
Sims partners with Novant Health and Envision Diagnostics to provide this mobile breast cancer screening in communities where women lack transportation and health insurance.
We currently have a backlog that has been going on since 2020 with about 500 plus women that have been on extensive wait list for a mammogram.
Sims says cuts to federal public health are causing clinics she partners with to reach out to her nonprofit as an alternative source for funding.
Because not only are we providing access to those mammograms, but we also provide funding for biopsies and follow-up care.
Elizabeth House partners with Dove's Nest, a division of Charlotte Rescue Mission working with women recovering from drug and alcohol addiction. Some of the women haven't had a mammogram in more than 25 years.
And that is the greatest gift. It just calms the mind of many of the women. And we do find abnormalities at times, and then we can send them on for treatment. And we've had people diagnosed with breast cancer while they've been staying with us.
Sims says hearing the stories of hope makes these pages in her photo album worth every memory that she keeps of her mother.
You know, it's a form of therapy, you know, because I know that every time we're doing this work, we're saving a life, you know, which is so precious.
And Sims says her mother taught her the power of the pen. She says writing down her thoughts and goals helped her get grants for her nonprofit. The mammograms are free.
But while crime trends are declining, sadly, they haven't stopped altogether. Violence is still leaving families in pain and mourning their loved ones.
That includes the family of a person shot and killed just today in southeast Charlotte. We had the incident unfold along Wallace Road, just off East Independence Boulevard. WCNC
Charlotte's Walker Lawson has been following this incident since this afternoon. Joining us now with the latest. What have you learned, Walker?
Well, guys, we now know that this is a homicide investigation. We've moved to the CMPD Independence department over here just due to the emotions that were running rampant on that side earlier today. It was a tough scene as a lot of families were running around and community members were out and about trying to figure out what exactly was going on. Again, as emotions were heightened. Now, as of the identity of this person, we still do not know. We also do not know who is involved, but CMPD did speak with us earlier today. Here's what they had to say.
I mean, anytime there's a violent encounter is cause for concern, and we tell people, you know, every day, no matter where you are or what you're doing, be aware of your surroundings, be diligent, pay attention to the things going on around you, you know, and if you see something, say something.
Now, again, earlier today on our WCNC Plus app, we did see someone escorted away from that site in handcuffs, but per CMPD earlier this afternoon around 2 o'clock, no arrests have officially been made. Reporting in Charlotte, Walker Lawson, WCNC Charlotte.
I also received an update from police on crime statistics earlier today on WCNC Plus, a great resource. Walker, thank you.
Every morning, your mission is to get ahead of traffic. Our mission is to save you time and get you there safe.
You can trust WCNC Charlotte to alert you to trouble spots impacting your commute. Stay on the move with WCNC Impact Traffic. WCNC Plus. Stream now.
Many peers say they're shaken not only because of what happened, but because it happened here so close to home. And tonight they say they're grateful this is at least coming to light.
As a parent, you want the best for your kid, and to know that something like that could happen this close, like, it's kind of freaky.
For parents, it's the kind of story you pray never touches your doorstep.
We always comment about how loud they are over there and laughing, and you can hear them. So yeah, I'm really shocked.
A preschool, what should have been a safe haven, now a scene of alleged betrayal.
This is here, this is at home, this is in your backyard. So I don't know. I don't know what to say.
March 31st, Maiden police received a report of possible child abuse at Maiden Rosenwald Preschool Academy. And on April 1st, they were knocking at the doors. Using surveillance video, Maiden police say they were able to confirm at least 16 children suffered abuse at the school. Tonight, neighbors say they're heartbroken.
I can't imagine how people take advantage of these kids and people that are just not knowledgeable enough to fight back for themselves.
So far, police have arrested 46-year-old Cheryl Dobbs, who's being charged with 4 counts of misdemeanor child abuse and 15 counts of misdemeanor assault, and 34-year-old Daisha Williams, a teacher in the same classroom, with misdemeanor child abuse, misdemeanor assault, and failure to report.
We are looking at all aspects of this case to determine, who had the duty to report. Was there somebody that failed to report these incidences? So that part of the investigation is ongoing.
And as we wait to learn more on how long this alleged abuse has been going on and who else is involved, we will of course continue to keep you updated. For now, here in Catawba County, Anna King, WCNC Charlotte.
Right now at 11 o'clock, the Queen City woke up to a string of tragedies. There are now 3 separate homicide investigations underway with instances that happened back to back. The violence started around 10:30 last night with a deadly shooting at the Transportation Center, followed by a stabbing hours later on Wallingford Street. Just hours later, another life lost on Eastway Drive. WCNC Charlotte's Anna King has the latest.
Each one of these events is a tragedy, and it's unfortunate that we've had to respond to these overnight.
Late Saturday night, CMPD got a call. An assault with a deadly weapon at the Transportation Center. They say when they got there, they found one person, 31-year-old Qualo Daniels, who had been shot. He was transported from the scene and later pronounced dead.
There are quite a few cameras in Uptown in general, and especially at the Transit Center, and detectives are going through that footage right now.
Then around 2 a.m., officials were called out to the 4800 block of Wallingford Street, where they found 37-year-old Stanley Williams, who they say was stabbed and killed. And around 6 a.m., officials got a call about a shooting in the 200 block of Eastway Drive. When they got to that scene, they found the victim, Javier Hernandez, deceased. With these homicides happening just hours apart, CMPD is reminding everyone to be aware of their surroundings, something residents echo.
It's a little terrifying because I have a child, so it brings some concern on the security of where I'm at.
Know your surroundings, not always be on the phone. Know what's going on, to the left of you, to the right of you, to the front of you, to the back of you.
In Charlotte, Anna King, WCNC Charlotte.
Well, it's a warm day today.
It is, yeah, 84 degrees. Still 84 out there, but tomorrow is going to be a little bit cooler for us, Brittany.
Yeah, 10 to 15 degree change, but it just puts us where we should be for April standards here in the Carolinas. Saturday was in the 50s, yesterday in the 60s, today in the 80s. The only place we weren't, the 70s, which is where we normally are for the first few weeks of April. You can see lots of bright sunshine out there right now from the Speedway to Monroe to Dallas, all the way to uptown Charlotte. We are going to see that sunset in about an hour or so, but across the board, we are going to be talking temperature swings, wind gusts, and probably a little bit of rain heading into tomorrow. Now, before we get there, let's talk about the UV index. This has been a change that you've probably noticed out and about the past few weeks, especially, maybe a little bit more likely to get sunburn. That's because the sun angle starts to go up, 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 and all the way up heading into summer. So it peaks at its lowest in winter, highest in summer. So even with the cooler temperatures, we'll be high, if not very high, over the next few days. Now, by the time we hit summertime, this is off the charts every every single day, but there will be a few small changes. And the main reason why tomorrow is a little bit lower is because we start off with clouds before sunshine returns in the afternoon. And it's all because of this cold front off to the north and west. As it moves through, we'll see a cloudy start to the day, a little bit of patchy shower activity, especially in the mountains, and then pulling out really quickly by the second half of Tuesday afternoon. Now, with that being said, we're also going to see gusty winds and temperatures also a little bit cooler. Now, the winds are going to be no joke. We were seeing breezy conditions today, gusting mostly between about 20 to 25 miles per hour. But tomorrow, by the latter half of the morning, when the storm system is moving through, we're looking at wind gusts upwards of 50 miles per hour in the mountains. Non-thunderstorm wind gusts like that can cause some minor wind damage. Now, for the Charlotte area, most of the Piedmont, our peak is about 36 miles per hour. For perspective, this is tropical storm force. So while I'm not expecting a trampoline to be picked up and thrown all the way down the street or a trash can, it is going to be something where items can be tipped over. If you have a loose, small tray, things like that could certainly cause some at least minor damage. So be mindful of that. Anything that's loose, you don't want to blow away. Nothing to impact your home. Make sure it is tied up or brought inside by the time you head to bed tonight, as that is going to be peaking again right around midday tomorrow. Gusts are much lower, but still pretty breezy in the mountains by Wednesday. Now, the roller coaster ride continues. I mentioned the 50s, the 60s, and then the 80s. Well, by Wednesday, we'll see highs back in the upper 60s. Most of this week, we are going to see either temperatures substantially below average or substantially higher. There's not a ton of days where we're right there in the middle. This is the average high, 73, which is where we'll be on Thursday. But notice multiple days below, tons of days above, as we'll be pretty notably cooler tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday before we soar back into the 80s heading into the weekend, which the Knights are at home. Charlotte FC back at home on Saturday. And of course, it is Easter weekend. So for folks out and about, definitely a weekend where you probably want the sunscreen and multiple ways to stay hydrated. The warmer temperatures are going to dominate not just the end of this week, but probably the next few weeks as well as we get into the end of April, as there's really strong signals that the warmer than normal above average temperatures are going to continue. So if you're more of a fan of the 70s, I would hold on tight and really enjoy the next 3 days, because look at Friday and into the weekend. We're looking at 86 Saturday, 85 Sunday. No record values, since our records for this time of year are closer to 90 degrees, but still substantially higher than normal. Not just the highs, but notice the lows too. We're typically at 49 this time of year. Tomorrow morning, 63. That's as low as we'll go.
Months ago, downtown Lansing looked unrecognizable. 10 feet of water pouring in right here. A good example was this post office. At one time, that water line stretching to where those light fixtures are, that water destroying everything in its path. But for some businesses here in the downtown, in just a few days, a new exciting chapter. It's all about living in the right now.
A lot of cleaning, but different kind of cleaning, you know.
Amy Blevins and her family inside her store in downtown Lansing, grateful for where they are.
We knew that we wanted to get back to this place, I guess you'd say.
Living in the moment, but looking back on the past.
It was catastrophic.
6 months ago, Amy Ann's was completely underwater.
So water line, we measured yesterday, it was 96 inches.
Hurricane Helene flooding all of the downtown, a river running through people's lives. For 6 months, it's been a slow journey of recovery.
You're like going up this hill, and then all of a sudden, you finally feel like it's, you know, starting to happen.
The building gutted, now unrecognizable, but the support has been consistent.
I can vividly recall this lady walking in, and I hadn't been down here earlier that day, and I just happened to be here, and the door was open, and she comes walking down the street, and she was like, "Hey, I'm from Charlotte. You don't know me, but I just wanted to give you this." And I think it was like $250 or $500, something like that. Didn't even know her.
They look back on a devastating time, but wouldn't change it.
We learned a lot.
Holding on to those memories for the present.
We're going to leave it dirty, just as a reminder, the hurricane.
While looking towards the future.
So we open at 10 a.m. I've had people say they're going to be here at 9:55, you know, ready to bust the door down.
But for now, focus on what's right in front of them. Grateful to be here. Businesses all across Lansing are reopening every single day, and for right now, they say all they need is your support. For more information, we have that on WCNC.com, and Amy Ann's opens up this Saturday. For now, in Lansing, I'm Austin Walker.
Well, concerns voiced in Union County tonight. Weddington residents pushing back against plans for proposed housing development as they raise some of those concerns.
After multiple revisions, the developer scaled back the number of homes. But as WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard reports, some say fewer homes don't necessarily mean fewer problems.
Well, from concerns about health to worries about wildlife, dozens of residents gathering here at Weddington High, encouraging town leaders to do more research and conduct more surveys before any shovel hits the ground. A development proposal in Weddington is coming with lots of controversy.
Why is there such fierce opposition?
While some are optimistic,
I'm hopeful that the town council will look at the facts and follow the law.
Others say they aren't backing down without a fight.
They need to find another zip code.
A fight they say is about more than just a development, but also the disruptions that will follow.
There's a long list of things to approve before you build a neighborhood, and they haven't completed it.
The land in question is not too far from the Arrow Plantation, with Toll Brothers proposing bringing 62 homes on 1-acre lots, a scale down from their previous proposal of 93. But still, many expressing concerns about things like water and the wildlife.
We saw 8 eagles out on different trees in our neighborhood. It's been concerns about that, plus Toll Brothers has had issues in the town as far as stormwater runoff. Lake's been damaged in another neighborhood in Bromley, erosion runoff. So we have 2 large lakes that this wildlife thrives on.
Others pushing back against those concerns while encouraging town leaders to learn all the facts.
Well, I'm concerned about the misinformation. The eagles are completely protected.
I believe that the eagles have just been weaponized, not building within 660 feet of the eagle's nest, and we have the Fish and Wildlife Bureau has signed off on this.
As town leaders prepare to vote for the future of this land, residents on both sides hopeful things will work in their favor.
We hope that it will get denied, and then we can get another developer in that has a better track record that can do responsible development on that property.
The developers in this project also speaking out tonight, sharing adjustments made, saying the project meets all requirements. Town leaders say everyone was heard tonight, but that final decision still set to be made on May 12th. Of course, we'll be sure to stick around and bring you the latest details. Reporting in Weddington, Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
Hey, Ben, can we move this forward just a little bit? For sure. Good? Yeah. I might have knocked your setup over. I didn't know it was so delicate. Is that going to bother you? Works, not at all. Okay. Who's three? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
When you walk in, I'm like, yours is solid there? You think that's gonna?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the sheriff's get it together. I'll stand over here. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, here we go. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jeff Jackson, Attorney General for North Carolina. Just had the opportunity to meet with local law enforcement leaders, spoke with them about a wide range of issues. First among them being the rebuilding phase that we're in now post-Helene, a number of concerns, but also emerging concerns related to some things that we're seeing, some things that we're concerned about when it comes to keeping people safe while they're in the rebuilding process. Then we had a more general conversation about various public safety issues, fentanyl, methamphetamines, scams, unrelated but still prevalent in Western North Carolina. Want to get into a little bit of detail about that, but before I do that, want to make sure that I recognize the folks who are here and give some folks an opportunity to say hello. I'm really grateful that our SBI director, Director Hawley, joined us for this. He joined us because he understands that this is not just a regional priority, this is a statewide priority. SBI plays an instrumental role in making sure that law enforcement can do their job and keep people safe. And Director Hawley, if you would just join us up here, I would really appreciate it.
Thank you. Really appreciate the opportunity that the Attorney General and the Sheriffs and Chiefs and DAs of the state of North Carolina has offered us to participate. We want to make sure that we're a good partner. We want to make sure that we are doing what's right behind the citizens of North Carolina, especially in Western North Carolina, where they've been taken advantage of. We're going to make sure that we support Sheriffs, Chiefs, and DAs across the state and the Attorney General's ability to be able to make sure that we do great partnerships throughout North Carolina.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
And Sheriff Hackett, please. Our host today.
Well, thank you. This was much needed and kind of a surprising outcome with this, because we were able to involve our state and local entities that are here, and that's one thing that really helps us is our local partners, and this came together very well for us, and we appreciate the Attorney General's office and his staff for putting this together. And all of our partners are here except maybe for one. We even had our chairman of the county commissioners and one of another county commissioner who are a liaison with us, and we really, really appreciate it. There was a lot of good conversation that came out of it, a lot of things that we need to work on, but I feel very strong now that with the continued cooperation that we have and kind of coming together more on the state and local levels, that we're going to be in good shape. So thank you again, Mr. Attorney General.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Sheriff, please.
I would just like to say that I appreciate the Attorney General's support today and coming up here and just having the conversations of things about the things that we're facing, that we have faced during this Helene, as well as other matters that he has extended his support for, and it's always good to have that support from our perspective from the Attorney General's office. So thank you.
Very kind. Thank you. What you're seeing is law enforcement speaking with one voice. We are going to do everything in our power to keep people safe while they're rebuilding and beyond. We had a good conversation about some emerging concerns that we have. Property crime, always a particular concern, particularly in the aftermath of major natural disasters. Scams related to the recovery. Some folks holding themselves out as government officials, sometimes holding themselves out as law enforcement, sometimes pretending that they have access to special money like FEMA money. And then a conversation about the potential with respect to contracting fraud. Look, there's going to be a major demand for contracting in Western North Carolina. If you're a contractor, your services are in need, but you better treat people fairly. You better be honest. We are not going to tolerate at all any contracting fraud. Anyone who tries to take advantage of people while they are struggling to rebuild is going to face consequences. The law enforcement leaders that you see up here are shoulder to shoulder on that. There is no daylight between any of us when it comes to how we are going to scrutinize bad actors who are taking advantage of people in this time. A couple of specific pieces of advice for folks at home, specifically with respect to contractors. First, always get multiple estimates. Second, get a written contract. You have a right to a written contract. And third, don't ever make the full payment up front. This applies not just to contracting, but to a wide range of potential scams. Some things that we're seeing is full payment up front is being demanded, and then either services are not being delivered or goods are not being delivered. If you want to negotiate some kind of down payment, you can do that. But anyone who demands full upfront payment, don't do that. At NCDOJ, we are launching our Safe to Rebuild initiative, which means we are prioritizing any and all complaints coming out of Western North Carolina. We've also set up a new website to help educate people about how to properly vet contractors, also alerting them to potential scams related to the recovery. That's at Safe to Rebuild on our website. We also just want to make sure that citizens at home who are struggling with the decision about whether or not to stay in Western North Carolina, asking themselves whether or not this is still the best place to raise their family, we want to send a very clear message to you. This is the best place for you to raise your family. We want you to stay here. Law enforcement is shoulder to shoulder to make sure that you and your family will be safe here, that you can rebuild your small business here. So for anyone who is on the fence about whether or not to rebuild, we want you to make the decision to rebuild here. We want you to know that you're safe to do that. Now, happy to take any questions.
Start on this side. WCNC.
You got, go right ahead.
Can we ask the sheriff some stuff?
Of course.
Mike, Glenn, have you seen people getting ripped off already? Have you seen some problems here in the high country? You guys tell me.
Has maybe some things that are a little bit more related. We've been fairly lucky here in terms of post-Helene, any kind of issues. As the Attorney General said, people need to be aware. That's the main thing, is to don't get caught in that trap and get ripped off. So from that standpoint, we are definitely, if we do have something come up, we know who to call now.
I would just echo what Sheriff Hageman said. We, not seeing a tremendous uptick in fraud as it pertains to construction fraud. We anticipate that may increase, due to the building season coming on. So, our objective is just to get ahead of this, and I think that's what the Attorney General's objective is to get ahead of this and educate folks, on being cautious, how they handle getting repairs and those type things that have come as a result of this storm, and just to be aware that there are unscrupulous characters out there that will come in and take advantage of any situation. So this is just an effort to educate our folks and another way to keep our communities safe.
And just to follow up on that, we're in a scam heavy environment right now. We had a discussion about lots of different types of scams that folks are seeing. Our major concern is that this is going to become a type of scam that's going to hit the community, going to hit Western North Carolina. We are trying to get ahead of it by letting folks know to have their guard up, but also to let folks know, to let potential criminals know who are thinking about trying to take advantage of people, that they will face the consequences. Yes.
Say someone was victimized, 6 or 7 months ago, could they still come forward and expect an investigation?
Yeah, absolutely. If you feel that you have been a victim and it was maybe earlier in the aftermath of the hurricane, be in touch with our office. We will run it down.
Attorney General, I know you said it's a scam-heavy situation right now, and we're also dealing with, all over the state, AI with RealPage. I'm curious, I know you reached a settlement with one of those landlords today, what the impact of that is as well, especially on renters, and just that increase in AI that we're seeing.
Our office took to court a handful of landlords who we believe were unlawfully using artificial intelligence to raise people's rates. We just announced that we've reached a settlement with respect to one of those landlords. It's a major landlord. The use of artificial intelligence here was basically to allow price fixing. So a group of landlords, they are not allowed to meet in the back of a restaurant and decide what rates to charge, but they were essentially using artificial intelligence as a stand-in for that type of in-person meeting, allowed them to share proprietary information to the detriment of renters. That is just one way that we are starting to see artificial intelligence used. Another is voice duplication technology. So folks are getting a call from someone who sounds exactly like their grandson, saying, "Grandpa, I was just arrested. I need you to send me some bail money. And I need it to be in cryptocurrency," or something like that. And it's a combination of AI plus cryptocurrency that's opened up a new tsunami for scams that's going to require a lot of public awareness and education.
When it comes to scams after Helene, we have heard complaints like things like people ordering heavy machinery to try to rebuild and then not getting that machinery, things like that. Can you talk about that and what people can do to prevent getting in a situation like that?
A lot of scammers try to focus on big ticket items because they only have to do a couple of scams to make a significant amount of money, which is why we're seeing a lot of reports with respect to heavy equipment. And either payment is being made in full and nothing is being delivered, or some variation on that. This goes to being extremely cautious with respect to in full upfront payments. Also, when this stuff crosses state lines, we've seen an uptick in those instances being fraudulent as well.
Following the storm, what have you all seen in terms of like looting or any property crime?
I was meeting with someone rebuilding their restaurant a few weeks ago in this region, and there were some cameras there, and he pulled me away from the cameras because he didn't want them to hear what he was going to tell me. He said, "I'm about to take delivery of some copper pipes because my restaurant was destroyed and I have to replace all my pipes, and I don't want anybody knowing because I'm afraid that they'll be stolen." There have been some reports of theft from construction sites, particularly during this phase of the rebuilding when more expensive equipment is starting to get delivered. So we want folks to be aware that that's a real threat, but we also want criminals to know if you engage in any looting, you will face the consequences. You are looking at shoulder-to-shoulder law enforcement from this entire region. You will face consequences. Anything else?
Will this alleviate landlord and renter tension? I know I've heard personal anecdotes with landlords not making the state of their buildings known to renters and then having Helene come in and then just condemning those buildings. So will this try to prevent that?
Well, I think that's something I would have to learn a little bit more about, but it's something my office is happy to consider. So if there are any reports or complaints of buildings that are substandard deficiency, particularly if it's a public health concern, what I would like people to do is report those to our office. We will prioritize those complaints and we'll respond quickly. You got it. Anything else? Anyone else here have any contributions? No? Open mic. Open mic. Okay. Very grateful for the opportunity to have this roundtable discussion. I should have mentioned we also had a good discussion about some trends that we're seeing with respect to fentanyl and meth. There's going to be a lot of coordinated law enforcement response. There already is, but we're looking at new ways that we can coordinate our response to help keep people safe. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for your
to see you. I guess we'll see you I'm glad.
Yeah.